Anthony Hartwig here with a Crestview Volleyball Coaches Corner, joined for the first time since way back in the beginning of the season with Alisha Auer. Alisha, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, so back at the start of the season, we talked to you about all these expectations that were on you guys and kind of what you expected out of the season. So the first question is, now that we've ended the regular season and you have one tournament game under your belt, how did the season go compared to how you expected it to, and what you expected out of these girls?
Honestly, when I looked at the schedule before the season started, 20-2 was ideal. I'm very, very pleased with how we did. In all reality, I have 3 kids that got a lot of varsity time last year, so I had a lot of newcomers. So ending 20-2, winning our first tournament game last night, I'm super excited, very proud of these kids.
You guys have a lot of MVAC championships under your belt, but this year the league felt a little bit different. There were some teams that really put together strong seasons that had struggled in the past. What was it like this year in the league, and seeing more and more teams kind of raise the bar a little bit and compete with you guys a little bit more and give you a little bit more to look at?
I think a lot of teams improved from last year. I definitely, I think Campbell Memorial really stepped up their game. Champion had a much stronger season. So I think all in all, the league definitely leveled up. So it was cool. It was fun. It was exciting. Got a little bit more intense games, more competitive games. So I really enjoyed that. I'm looking forward to next year too.
That being said, how proud were you of this league championship, and does it ever get old?
It never gets old. I love to win. I love when we have competitive teams. I mean, winning isn't everything, obviously. You know, as long as the girls are playing their hardest and giving their best. But if we can bring championships home on top of all that hard work, it feels great.
All right, we're talking about all the success, and we have to talk about the elephant in the room, which are the last 2 games of the regular season, or the last 2 losses. I shouldn't say the last 2 games because you ended the season with 2 wins. But Gerard and Fitch, back to back after the almost exclusively league schedule, 2 tough teams right at the end of there. What do you see out of your group from those 2 games, and how impressive was it to just kind of be exposed to that level of volleyball right before tournament?
Well, we always play a very tough preseason, so we scrimmage hard. The way our schedule was set up this year, we knew that we were heavy at the end, and we were hoping that would get us ready for tournaments. And honestly, it exposes your weaknesses. It exposes things you need to work on in practice. Like I said before, 20-2 was my goal at the end of the year. Anything better than that would have been phenomenal. But realistically, I think I knew that Gerard would be very strong this year. I knew that Fitch would be very strong this year. I think we competed with Fitch. We did not play well against Gerard. Not saying Gerard didn't play well, because they did. But I think that exposed to us what we needed to focus on in practice. So when we get against teams like Gerard or teams like Fitch, that we're able to compete and hopefully pull out some wins.
And you talk about practice. You didn't have a practice between Gerard and Fitch. It was Saturday to Monday. So
That
how
was
much did your coaching staff just take in those 2 games and get kind of almost excited about practice on Tuesday to really know exactly what you guys had to work on?
Well, it was like a totally jam-packed 2 weeks. We had I don't even know the number, but we had a lot of games in that 2-week period, and we had very little practice. So it was kind of a balance of, these kids need a little time off, they need a little mental break, versus we need to come back and we need to really pound this. So we ended up having on Tuesday after the Fitch game, we had a fun practice. We did a lot of rotation quads. We did some queen of the court, just kind of relaxed and didn't feel the pressure to automatically fix the problems and automatically get everything right. So we kind of relaxed, got back on track. Wednesday was a little more focused, and Thursday, by the time we got to Salem, we looked more like ourselves.
I'm curious on that fun practice. Are there also some more mental stuff you can work on that isn't exactly physically enduring, but can work on the mental aspects of games and try to keep them focused and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we actually, one of our teachers, Mark Fabian, he's a science teacher here. He meets with our girls weekly. He's fantastic, and he gives them inspirational talks. So we actually had a meet with him last Wednesday. We had a good meet with him today, and that's kind of our mental focus of just positive thinking, really putting into perspective what sports mean and how we can grow from sports and how we can be better people. And he does a great job with them, and he really helps lead our team in that mental aspect.
What was the biggest thing that the Gerard and Fitch games taught you about your team, and you hope that gets fixed before the stretch of the tournament?
Just not to not to freak out, not to doubt ourselves, not to worry about losing, rather than play the game, see what the outcome is. You can't win every game, but if you can compete and you can do your best, then it's going to be a game. So I think we had a bad start and we mentally just broke down. So I think that was eye-opening to us, is what to do in that situation and how to try to avoid that situation.
All right, so let's get back to positives and talk about all the good stuff that has happened this year, because a couple of names that people are familiar with in this volleyball pro. Abby Emch, everyone kind of expected her to do what she did. Grace, everyone expects her to do what she did. But so, like you said earlier, new faces that came into this program, understood the standards and met it. How proud were you of those girls to be able to step into this Crestview volleyball tradition that can be daunting when you look at the success it has had, and really just not missed a beat and kept the standard that you guys have in the program?
I'm super proud of them. I mean, we start August 1st and we start on the track and we run a mile. First day, I had more girls finish the mile and the time set. The time we want them to finish under 8 minutes. It's volleyball. It's not track. I know that's not a super fast mile, but it's a mental game. So they have to prepare. They have to be ready to run. And I had more kids finish under 8 than I've ever had in my whole entire coaching career. So that was cool. That was a good start. And that just showed me how hard they were ready to work and how much they wanted to succeed this year. And like I said before, I have 3 kids that actually had a lot of varsity time last year. So, I mean, all those other positions have been filled by kids who were either on JV last year or a freshman that I brought in. So she was in 8th grade last year. And the fact that they've stepped up and they're competing at this level and they're pushing their roles, I'm just elated. It's a great group of kids. They work hard.
It was a great senior class last year. How much have you felt their legacy and their footprints into the leadership of this year?
Oh, I love those seniors. It's funny because I'll look across the stands and I'll see Lainey McCurry over there, and I've seen Hannah Cope and Kendra Greaves, and I've been talking. Lucy Montgomery actually showed up during the hurricane. She got sent home from Florida, so she came to a game, but it was over before she got here. And then I've been keeping tabs on Shelby. So, I mean, everybody who plays Crestview volleyball, they're a part of Crestview volleyball, and even beyond last year's senior class, I've had so many alumni either reach out to me or come to games, come over and give us hugs after the match is over. And it's like a big family. I'm very proud to be a part of it.
Don't want to leave out the returning players just because they're returning and people assume that they do what they have done. Abby Emch, growing from freshman year to sophomore year, what do you think the biggest part of her game growth-wise that you've seen from last year to this year?
Well, Abby only played 3 rotations last year. So this year we wanted to get her playing some defense, serve, receive, and hitting out of the back row. And she's obviously an offensive weapon, but her serve receive is fantastic. She has great ball control. I mean, last year everybody saw what Abby is capable of doing on the net, and that's continued to improve. But the whole new dynamic of her game is her back row play, and it's really fun to watch. Abby's a very hard worker. She's super coachable. Just a great kid.
Kills-wise, she leads you guys. So she's your best weapon on offense, but she's also a middle blocker. So how much of an emphasis do you guys put on passing to make sure you guys in system so it's really easy for your setters to get the ball into the middle?
Yeah, it's definitely want to keep the ball in our setter's hands so we can put it where we need it to go. We're able to switch Abby to the pin sometimes, which is cool, depending on how our ball control is, depending on our matchups. But yeah, we definitely have been focusing a lot on getting the ball to target so we can run whatever offense we want to run.
And then Grace Auer has 200 plus in three different categories. When you look at it, I mean, I don't want to say it's ho-hum, but it's almost like, how has she raised the bar this year compared to the last 2 that we've seen her do her stuff?
Grace is just a workhorse. She just pushes to get better all the time. She loves hitting, she loves setting, she loves defense. So no matter what position she's in on the court, she's going to give you 100%. She leads by example. Her and Abby both do. They lead by how hard they work at practice, how hard they work in games, and you rarely ever see them take plays off or take games off. They just give 100%. So Grace has really has focused on becoming more of a power hitter. She's always been a power hitter, but she's just finding love for hitting that she's really stepped into that.
I'm curious how vocal your leaders were in the practice after those 2 Fitch and Gerard games, and how much you kind of got to take a step back and let your leaders lead on the floor.
They did. The cool thing about this team is I could write out a practice plan, set it on the floor, and go hang out in the balcony, and they would do it. They would do everything that I put on the paper, and they would do it well. They're very motivated. My captains are Grace and Meredith Hart, and they're very positive captains. They are encouraging. So in that practice, they knew that we needed to improve, but we also needed to have fun doing it. So they did a really good job of just stepping in and just taking charge.
All right, one tournament game under your belt. You have another one tomorrow. It's finally tournament season, and I know that means you have a lot of things spinning in your mind. You're probably looking at the bracket every now and then just to see what other teams are doing on the other half. What do you think is the best part of tournament time and tournament action in volleyball?
I love tournament time. Obviously, you have your varsity roster in the gym. So you have your varsity roster at practice, and things get very intense. I mean, we can put 6-on-6, and we can really focus on specific things, specific drills, specific skills, and they just get very intense. Like we ended practice today on the 6-on-6 drill, and the coaches and I kind of looked at each other. We're like, this looks really good, like they just step up, and it's just a different feeling in the gym.
You got Waterloo tomorrow. What are going to be some of the things that you're looking for in this game that you want to take if you're lucky enough to advance into the district semifinals?
Ball control. Ball control has been our focus since that Saturday morning at Girard. So if we control the ball, we control the game.
And I imagine that's something that you keep a very good eye on. Is that the main stat that you look at? I mean, I know a lot of people like the kills and they like the blocks, but I'm sure if you had one stat to kind of tell you how good your team is doing, is it the receiving, or is it something else that you look at?
Totally serve receive. If we can receive the serve, we can put the ball in our hitters' hands, we'll have the kills. If you can serve receive, you can side out. So then there's not going to be a big point differentiation. So serve receive, I mean, that's the most important skill in the game. Not always the most exciting, but definitely the most important.
I know coaches never look ahead, but us as a media, we got to ask you about this bracket real quick before we let you go, because there's 4 state-ranked teams in it, with Lakeview in there, with Kirtland in there, with Middle Ridge in there. What's your expectations of this district, and how hard is it going to be to get out of it?
Listen, between the super district, the 25 teams that got split, there should be a state championship within those 25 teams. I mean, we have Lake Catholic on one side, the next 4 on the other side. It is a tough district. It's exciting. There's going to be some really good volleyball going on. I'm very excited about it.
All right, Coach, we're excited about it too. We wish you the best of luck tomorrow night, and hopefully in the future for more tournament games as well. We thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Great. Thanks so much.